The design presentation is one of the most undervalued parts of a design project. This is the part of your project where your design is complete and you're finally ready for your client to take a look. Since it does seem to be so undervalued, today we're going to go over why it's so important, how you can present your design, and what to avoid when you're showing your design to your client for the first time. Let's start by diving into why your design presentation is really so important. First off, the way you present your design, whether it's a mood board, logo, or entire website design, will have a lot of say in your client's first impression of it. For a simple example, sending a logo to a client in just a simple PDF with a white background is going to give them a much different impression than they'd have if you sent it in a mock-up of a website. When you're able to put something in context for your client, they're more likely to understand your thought process, value your strategy and opinions, and fall in love with what you've created for them. Next, a good design presentation is really going to give your client a good idea of all the time, energy, and thought you put into something you created for them. For example, in a mood board, instead of your client assuming you kind of picked pictures and colors randomly, if you're able to put it in context and explain it to them, they're much more likely to understand that you may have picked these things because they'd attract their target market. Or for a website design, they might have a really good understanding of why you put a call to action in one certain place instead of just assuming you'd put it where all the other websites seem to have one. And last, a good design presentation is going to let your client see the time, effort, and thought you put into a project for them. Overall, putting thought into your design presentation is going to leave you with fewer revisions. Even with my development services, I was able to see my revisions go from several pages of changes to just a few bullet points once I figured out what my audience responded to best. Now, before we dive into how to present your designs, let's start with what not to do. The biggest mistake you can make is just sending a simple PDF with nothing except a mood board, logo concept, or website mockup. With this kind of presentation, your client can't see it in context at all, and they have no understanding of why you did things the way you did. This is going to make them a lot more likely to want to kind of bend your creation into what they think is right. And since you're the expert, that is definitely not what we want. So that leads us to what you can do instead. The best way you can present your design to a client is through video. Whether you choose to hop on Skype and go over everything face to face or record a screencast, being able to walk your clients through every decision you made will totally change the game. In a video, you have the opportunity to explain all your decisions, show them the passion behind what you created, and explain the strategy behind each one of your decisions. With this approach, you'll be able to explain exactly why you chose a certain logo concept, why certain pictures are included in a mood board, or why the homepage is laid out exactly the way it is. That way, they won't have to wonder about the decisions you made and suggest changes that don't really make sense for their businesses. As an extra step, for something like logos, you may choose to include this on a website mockup so they can see what it would look like in context of an actual website. On a similar note, for websites, you can show your mockup on an actual computer screen so they get a better idea of what's full width, what's not, and what it will look like on an actual computer. They'll have a much better understanding of the true value you're bringing to their business, and you're going to see fewer revisions as a result. I'd love for you to leave a comment and let me know if there's anything special you do when you present your designs to your client, and if not, if there's anything you plan to do to start changing it up a little bit. To learn more about designing strategic and truly valuable websites for your clients, grab my checklist of the 10 things to keep in mind when designing your websites. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.